Okay, so we're going to pick it up at PSYOP Capability Capes Brief. And Section A, Psychological Operations, that is warfare, is the tip of the spear and the highest echelon of military warfare in the world, whose mission and objective are to conduct, amongst many other things, planned operations to convey selected information and indicators to a specific demographic or target audience in order to, and then it's going to list a couple things here. So it's a psychological operation, and it has a mission objective to target and convey selected information. Planned operations with selected information and indicators. Indicators, markers, same thing. Do you see it yet? So Trump comes into, gets inaugurated noon Eastern time, January the 20th, 2017. 6, 7, 8 months goes by, and then all of a sudden, Q comes out, which is a planned operation to convey selected information and markers. Are you starting to see the picture here? Okay, and it is to a specific demographic or target audience. Now, here's the setup. B. B. Infiltrate to change, persuade, and or influence the emotions, motives, objective reasoning, and ultimately the personal behavior of any target audience or audiences, foreign or otherwise. Okay, and we'll get into that in a minute. Foreign or otherwise, on a earth-wide scale, if need be, in an effort to control every town, city, state, government, organization or organizations, groups, or individuals, from their religious groups to their corporations, all the way down to their clubs and or their teams, in an entire country or nation or region or section of the earth, in association and in cooperation with the U.S. State Department, host nation, and commander-in-chief's overall objectives. So you're literally starting to see here that going back up here, target audiences. Then this is the patriots. These are the people, the children of the living God. That is the people being built up into the temple of God. A target audience, and it says foreign or otherwise. And what do you see going on in France with the yellow vest, and all across the earth, in China, Hong Kong? What are they doing? They got the American flags, and what are they doing? Singing the American songs, right? Everything is foreign or otherwise on a earth-wide scale if need be. And the need is there. And what's the objective? To control every town, city, state, government, organization, groups, blah, 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 all the way down to the most minor of things. In other words, to completely and utterly eliminate the lies and deceptions, the narratives, all the different things that are out there that have been controlling the people, and get directly to them and to their organizations and to everything, infiltrate everything with light, with truth, with facts, with evidence. You see what I'm saying? Completely, it's a military operation, a psychological operation. We've been under a psychological operation. Okay, that's what your enemy does, is program you. That's psychological operations. What are these shooters and all that thing? That's psychological operations. Those are people that are very, very sick mentally, psychologically, under control. Okay, so you start to see how everything interconnects. Now we're going to subsection 2. Bring that up just a little bit. Okay, for this is my official military report and a personal account of what I have come to know and understand as not just the truth, but the facts that are being withheld from the military and the American people of this great nation. Facts that will nullify every law. Guys, that's a powerful, powerful statement, but it is backed up as we go forward in this document, in this report. Facts that will nullify every law. You understand they have over 1 million laws, that is codes and statutes, in their corporation that they're cramming down everybody's throat because people believe they're all capital letter name. An entity, a fiction, a dead corpse, a corporation, that's a dead entity. A non-existing entity. A corporation cannot represent itself in court. There's just no way. If they say the state of Texas against Jed, will the state of Texas please take a seat so I can question him and understand what he's charging me of? They can't do that because it's fictional and it don't exist. It's a piece of paper. Anyways, you are the sovereign. We are the sovereign. We, the people, are the sovereigns. They are our servants. They're supposed to do what we tell them to do, and that is righteousness. But anyway, we're getting way off topic on this one. Let's carry on with what it says here. So, facts that will nullify every law and every last tyrannical piece of legislation, guys. That all these legislative acts that they've put into place will be utterly nullified. In fact, they already are. You are watching a scripted movie. You'll see, you'll understand when we get through this thing. Okay, so every last tyrannical piece of legislation that has been illegally introduced and rammed down the throat of this nation since 1999, thereby setting the entire country free and ending the orchestrated degradation of the United States of America once and for all. Okay, all this degradation, all this elimination of the United States. Do you understand some of the things that they were planning to do, guys? Let's use Space Force, for example. Why is Space Force so important? Okay, Trump and the administration have made a big deal out of this Space Force. Well, there is no space, quote unquote space, that's out there where galaxies and all that stuff. So why the big deal about this Space Force? Well, if you understand the 16-year plan, so you had Hussein come in here, he was to begin to shut everything down, get everything set up, get everyone divided, get everyone, the race car going, get everything going, and then Hillary comes into office, and once Hillary comes into office, she removes the guns, flood the borders, and then degrade our military until it can't do anything. It's not capable of doing anything. Just defund them and shut them down. Then take the enemy, China, which is, we owe China everything. They're trying to build up China. If you haven't been paying attention, which I know every one of you have. So they are over here trying to build up China. China was the end game. But what was going to happen is once she had the military defunded, then all of a sudden the other nations would go up and hit and take down our satellites, which would make us blind in the sky. At that point, they were going to take up into the upper atmosphere where the satellites are, on these balloons, on these birds, on these solar-powered airships, as they're called, and all these other devices that they have now, and have up there nuclear devices. And then these were going to be used against the people of the earth, because we are their enemy. At some point, this is going to hit home. They declared we, the people, their enemy in their own paperwork, in their own documents. And we were the chattel property. We were the and my mind just went blank. That what you put up as collateral for a loan. Okay, we were the collateral. Okay, so if we defunct, they could just kill us. We were the collateral. But anyways, guys, that's neither here nor there. Let's continue with what's going on here in this article, because it's very important. So it would have nullified every law, every tyrannical piece of legislation. It would have set the entire it will set the entire country free and end this orchestrated degradation of the United States. Now, next section. The United States of America is no longer, okay, not future tense, no longer. When? Go back up to the top of the document. November 2016, 2011. November 11th, 2016. Okay, come back down here. Okay, so no longer under the command and or control or the oversight of the current, quote, administration, end quote, posing as the leadership in Washington, D.C. So no longer under Obama, no longer under this show, no longer under this narrative, no longer under this illusion of government. There is an actual person in the position of Postmaster General. And I know you don't understand how powerful that is, but again, that's where all commerce is done. That's where all contracts are made. That's where all things are moved. All communication is, everything. It is the most important position. And he is Postmaster. We'll get to it. So no longer under this administration. No longer. Okay? That was in 2016. Neither does this country have a president. Listen carefully, guys. Neither does this country have a, quote, president, end quote, or a, quote, Congress, end quote, or a Senate, and the entire legislative and judicial system, to include all civil authority, has been suspended and officially, legally, and lawfully shut down and closed since November 2nd, 1999. Understand what's being said here, guys. And did I give you the wrong date up there? I hope I said 2016 up there. All right. So here we are, guys. This is. I hope this is really. You're getting it. I really do. I really hope you're getting it. This country has, since November 2nd, 1999, to the current date, been in a state of martial law. That's what's been going on this whole time. Ever since 1999, in November 2nd of 1999, we have been under martial law. And this is important, guys, to grasp. And here he says, and you need to know how and why. So now we're getting into the prelude of this document, of this report. November 2nd, 1999, all federal service contracts legally dissolved. Done. Gone. Finished. Bye-bye. Fact number 2, or fact, November 2nd, 1999, due to international banking law, okay, not your definition, not all that stuff, not maritime law, not international banking law. The banknote, okay, and that is in quotes, the banknote, aka the U.S. Constitution. That was the banknote. What's the Constitution? We, the people of the United States of America. The Constitution. Okay, that it was the banknote, which was a Postal Command contract location accord. That, guys, is an agreement in commerce. That's a contract in commerce. A Postal Command contract location accord is an agreement in commerce. And it was struck, check this out, guys, this is key. It was struck between the King of Great Britain and the founders of the Republic, the founding fathers of the Republic of the United States. Okay, that's what this is about. Now look, let's go back up here so we can understand what's happening. Fact, November 2nd, 1999, due to international banking law, the banknote, that is the Constitution, which was an agreement in commerce struck between the King of Great Britain and the founding fathers of the Republic of the United States, had officially come to an end, and with that, all federal services contracts between the King of Great Britain and the 13 colonies, which is now the 50 states of the Union of the Republic, but originally the 13 colonies, known as the United States of America, were and have been since that time legally and lawfully dissolved and ended. What happened, guys, is way back then we got ourselves into a mess and we had to borrow money and we had all this stuff going on. But the fact of the matter is we existed as a nation, but we got taken over. All these things started taking place. The founding fathers made a contract with the King of Great Britain because the King of Great Britain was trying to take over the United States, trying to take over the creation of the Father in heaven called the United States, that he performed miracles in order to allow us to actually win the war. I got to get those videos out to you guys, man. It's powerful stuff. How everything went from the lost tribes to all of a sudden America's here and being blessed by God, the miracles that take place in order to create America, how the founding fathers saw themselves as the, quote, new Israel, and so forth and so on, guys. It's powerful stuff. And once you understand this, it opens up everything to you. Okay? So the founding fathers of the Republic of the United States put the Constitution of the United States up as collateral. It was a contract between the King of Britain and the founding fathers of the Republic of the United States in order to get us through what we got ourselves into. That whole contract and everything that was involved with that contract came to an end November 2nd, 1999. Ever since then, we have been under an illusionary government, only being held up by narratives, by media stories, by actors, by Hollywood stars, by commercials, by all the different things that they use. You'll see, you'll understand as we go down through a little bit of history. We're only in the prelude of this document, of this report. But it became legally and lawfully dissolved and ended. So here's where we're at right here. That means that all of the laws and or the codes and statutes of public justice, okay, understand that's what they're acting on. When you see that yellow fringed flag there and you're under contract law or the law of the sea or the law of the waters, and you see that the flag is captured by that fringe, and you understand what court you're in, then at that point you understand that they are dealing with codes and statutes, not law, not the law of the land. And that the law of land being if someone got hurt or injured, or if property got damaged, then a crime was committed and needs to be dealt with. Either pay for the damages, fix the wounds, whatever it is, then you have to deal with it. But you do it in the private first. You give your brother an opportunity to remedy the situation, and then you move up into legislation and go onward as you need, going through the 3 pillars. Again, 3 pillars, not 4. Not the 4th one, the tribe of Dan, the serpent, is not supposed to be there. This maritime admiralty law. More specifically, it should not be there no matter what since November 2nd, 1999. It's been an illusion ever since. They have enslaved us ever since. So again, that means that all of the laws and or the codes and statutes of public justice, end quote, and the entities that enforce them, that is the ATF, the FBI, the NSA, so forth and so on, all the 3-letter agencies. Like I told you guys, these are Jesuit controlled. These are the enemy itself that has infiltrated and is trying to present itself as part of the United States government. They're not. They are a fiction. They are a fraud. They are unlawful. They are illegal. Anyway, we'll get to it. That have all been created by the King of Great Britain. Why? To enforce the rule of his laws, Dan's laws. here in this country, the IRS, the DEA, the DHS are gone. They're done. They're toast, guys. You're watching a scripted movie. Oh, I hope your guys are the eyes are starting to go, boop. Oh, wow, we really are watching a movie. All this is done. Q is at the finish line. I've said this over and over and over again. Stop worrying. Be thankful. Give him praise. Give him thanks. Give him your Father I'm talking about in heaven. Let's continue, guys. This is just, I hope it's blessing you. I hope it's opening your eyes up. I hope it's really helping you guys. I really do. And so here we go. As these legal defunct entities are now lawfully dissolved, they therefore possess no authorization to execute operations, nor execute any operations to enforce that now nullified former federal authority. Okay? Former federal authority. These guys, when you're watching the TV and you're watching the scripted movie, they still think that they are in charge. These guys are in darkness. They have no clue, no concept of understanding that they are already defeated. They are toast. It's already been done. It's been done since 1999, November the 2nd. They don't have a clue. They live in absolute darkness, just like you and I were until we came to the truth of how things went down. Okay? They don't have a clue. They really think they are still in charge. And they really think that somehow or another they are going to win in 2020. They really, truly do. No matter how much truth comes out, no matter how many people get arrested, they are still going to believe they're going to be in charge in 2020. They are enveloped in darkness. Hopefully the video's out. That the Father and the Son make it clear that these guys are in gross darkness, that they cannot see nor understand anything. They don't get it. They really think that Lucifer is in charge, he's reigning and ruling, and that he's somehow going to come to their aid. He's done fleed. He ain't helping nobody. He knows. It's a federal government services corporation that is false, fake, and illusionary, that is acting like our government. So let's read this again, starting up here. Let's wait for that to pop up. Okay. As these legally defunct entities are now lawfully dissolved, these defunct entities, that's to see all your three-letter agencies. NSA, all of them, guys, every last one of them. As these legally defunct entities are now lawfully dissolved, they therefore possess no authorization to execute operations. They have no authority whatsoever. Now, we're allowing them to do things so we can achieve a record of everything that they've done to present in court. See, you can't prosecute them for things they've done in the past. You have to catch them in the act and record it as evidence, as proof. That's why this takes so long, guys. And plus, you got to get all the millions and millions of people to wake up, to come out of the slumber and to realize something's wrong. And then start asking questions. You got to wait for all these things. All these things have to take place. It's not a hurry up and let's get this over with. You can't do it that way. You set these people free. And you're talking about pedophiles, child murderers, child sacrificers, all sorts of things. A complete satanic cult that operates over the entirety of the earth. Lawfully dissolved. They therefore possess no authorization to execute operations, nor execute any operations to enforce that now nullified former federal authority anywhere within the continental United States of America. That is the 50 states. The continental United States, all the states right here on the continent of America between Mexico and Canada. As the agency authorizations for the British-run Federal Government Services Corporation, again, there's that name, as the agency authorizations for the British-run Federal Government Services Corporation are no longer lawfully valid. Period. Okay? They're no longer lawfully valid. they then have no legal standing to operate in the capacity of legal or lawful extensions of that now defunct private, corporate, contracted, British-run government entity. See, what you had was the Republic was there, but you had the King of Great Britain, you had the British royalty reigning and ruling over that Republic, and the Constitution was the contract to allow that to happen. Because we got ourselves into a major mess, and we got into these bankruptcies that we had to get through. Look, we set out to free ourselves of the tyrants of the earth, of the satanic cabal. We knew about it back then when we showed up at the shores here, and we realized this was the promised land, the second promised land promised in the scriptures. And we set up camp, and we literally made a covenant with God. And then the miracles took place, and this nation came into a being. And immediately that satanic cabal began to attack us, and hasn't never stopped. And they eventually took us over through contract between the founding fathers and the Great Britain. Okay, so that's what's happening here. And so what Great Britain did is they came in and they put this governmental entity into position and made it look like you had government, but it wasn't your government. It was all an illusion to control you, we the people, to extract and extort taxes and all these various different things from us. They added the fourth pillar. Do you see that there's two entities, one over the other? All of that got nullified November 2nd, 1999. Now, let's continue. So, we're right here now. A private British Federal Contract Government Services Corporation, aka the Presidential, quote, Administration, end quote, that illegally continues, void of all legal national federal contract, to fraudulently enforce the provision of these defunct federal services upon both the states and the people of this nation. So, in November 2nd, 1999, the president that was in office was no longer president of the United States. From that day forward, they enslaved us because we were free, and all of that they were doing was defunct and unlawful. It was their end, and we got our republic back. Instead, they didn't tell us. They held the keys back, and they kept us blind, and they enslaved us and continued to control us, and then set out this plan to ultimately end us. Aren't you thankful that you have President Trump in office right now, in this fake entity system that they had control of? And not only did they have the control of, but they had the entire world believing it was a real deal. We don't have a Congress. We don't have legislature. We don't have any of that. We don't have a president. We don't have a vice president. All of that is defunct, unlawful, and gone. That all belonged to the Great Britain. I hope you guys are understanding this, man. I really do. I really do. A private British Federal Contract Government Services Corporation, aka the Presidential Administration, that illegally continues, void of all legal national federal contract, is void of it, to fraudulently enforce the provision of these defunct federal services, the IRS, the Federal Reserve, that is the monetary system, the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, you name it, guys, the NSA, no such agency. Okay, all of it, defunct federal services upon both the states and the people of this nation. An illegal British Federal Government Services Corporation. That's what it is. It's a corporation that sits over us. It's an entity. It's fake. It's a fraud. It's illegal and it's unlawful, especially after November 2nd, 1999. Not only that, you're traded on the international stock market and all sorts of crazy things that go on with this fraudulent system. So we were captured in a shipping war, and everyone and everything was placed in or under the international jurisdiction of admiralty and maritime law of the sea. That's how this fourth pillar comes in and comes about. And this is where all of a sudden we think we're going to the courts of the law of the land, and in reality we're in admiralty court with totally different definitions, and we don't have a clue what's going on, and we're guilty every time because the whole system is set up for this foreigner that's on our shores operating over us and controlling us and manipulating us. Okay, this is what the yellow fringe around the flag signifies. It is indicating, the yellow fringe is indicating that it has been captured by a private corporation in a shipping war under the jurisdiction of admiralty and maritime law of the sea, identified as advertised by the yellow rope fringe encircling it, capturing it. That's why this yellow fringe goes all the way around the flag. It symbolizes it has been captured under the laws of the sea. It is broadcasting and advertising that since it has been captured, we have been infiltrated, taken control of, and captured as well, and are therefore in a state of martial law. There's no other way about it. If you have a yellow fringe around the flag of any nation, that nation is in martial law. Period. It is in a state of martial law. That's automatic. Okay? Wherein, when beaten down and dragged into a court, are guilty until proven innocent. Okay? Not innocent until proven guilty, but in admiralty law, you are proven guilty. You are guilty, period, until you prove your innocence. Okay? And it has to do with honor and all these different things, and you must stay in honor. But you got to stay in honor anytime that you're in court, and you should be in honor and in dignity at all times in your life anyway. But that comes with time as the programming gets removed from you, and you naturally want to become this honorable and respectful and dignified person of dignity. That just comes naturally as the programming is removed from us. So wherein, when beaten down and dragged into a court, are guilty until proven innocent, where we are charged with crimes and extorted by punishments that are foreign to our civil systems and our soil. Again, it is a foreign court on our soil. They have not registered as foreigners, therefore it's all a fraud anyway. But nevertheless, understand you are dealing with a foreign court and foreign laws on your soil. That's what's happening here. Anywhere that the U.S. flag is located with a yellow fringe around it, it is advertising that in those venues, wherever you see it, whatever facility you're in, whether it's a courtroom or the Oval Office or wherever it is, those venues or at those corporate contract locations, CIA, FBI, IRS, so forth, so on, the laws of admiralty supersede our nation's declarative standing associated with the law of our flag that flies in opposition of those laws as properly represented by our nation's flag without the yellow fringe around it. Yet, as it is captured by that fringe, it is therefore bound. That is, it is contracted. And if it's under contract, contract law is admiralty law. Okay, it is bound, it is contracted to authorize those locations to harvest our country in whatever way stipulated, whatever they've been told by the king to do. Okay, these are usually at your courthouses and county recorder or state buildings, the locations where you would pay your fines, your money, and your fees, your money at. In other words, where they would extort taxes from you. So let's look at the law of the flag. The law of the flag. The United States Flag Code outlines certain guidelines for the use, display, and disposal of the flag. These must be obeyed and they must be done in this manner. And the military is very, very strict about this. It must be done a certain way, and if the flag touches the ground, that flag is done. Anyway, for example, the flag should never be dipped to any person or anything unless it is an ensign responding to a salute from a ship of a foreign nation. This tradition comes from the 1908 Summer Olympics in London, where countries were asked to dip their flag to King Edward VII. The American flag bearer did not dip his flag, the American flag. Team captain Martin Sheridan is famously quoted as saying, "This flag dips to no earthly king." Why? Because we serve our king, the king of us, the kings, the king of kings. It dips to no man ever. We stand for righteousness, we stand for peace, we stand for the kingdom of heaven. Okay, so here are the specifications in the United States Code Title IV. It says that it should be 1 by 1.9 dimensional, G-spec, government specification, federal flag. So here he's got it all laid out for us. He's got the B length, which is fly width of the flag, 1.9. And then you have the A length over here, which is the hoist height of the flag. A is 1.0, so 1.0 to 1.9, so 1.0 to 1.9 dimensional. And it goes on here and it says the basic design of the current flag is specified by 4 United States Code. And then it got subsection 1 for USC, subsection 2 outlines the addition of new stars to represent new states. The specification gives the following values, and we started to go over that. And then we have the rest of the dimensions. The hoist height on the canton, the union part, is C, 0.5385. So you come up here and you look at the C section here, and then a 7 to 13 spanning 7 stripes, fly width of the cannon. And I know a lot of people think that the 13 stripes represent the 13 colonies, and they do, but the 13 colonies represent the 13 tribes. There's 13 tribes, not 12. But the 12 sons of Israel plus Manasseh, the two get split, and you end up with 13 tribes. So, but anyways, so it represents the colonies, which represents the 13 tribes. And each star represents each of the states that have joined into the union that we call the United States of America. And then we have the fly E and equals F equals 0.0538, 1/10 of the height of the canton, and so forth. We go through all this. You can pause it if you want to read all that. And I don't know if I can get it all on there, but here, get you a quick look at that. And just pause it if you need to. Okay, so these specifications are contained in an executive order which, strictly speaking, governs only flags made for or by the U.S. federal government. In practice, most U.S. national flags available for sale to the public have a different width to height ratio. Okay, so your public flag is actually in a different ratio to the federal flag itself. The federal flag is specified under United States Code, and it has to follow that code. So different height ratio. Common sizes are 2 by 3 foot or 4 by 6 foot. Flag ratio being 1.5. There's also 2.5 by 4 foot and 5 by 8 foot, which is a 1.6 ratio, or 3 foot by 5 foot or 6 foot by 10 foot, which is a 1.667 ratio. Even flags flown over the U.S. Capitol for sale to the public through representatives or senators are provided in these sizes. Flags that are made to the prescribed 1.9 ratio are often referred to as a G-spec for government specification flags. Anything that stands above the flag itself in its position attached to the top of the flagpole. So whatever you look at the pole, and then you have the flag, but you continue to go to the top of the flag, and you look at the pole, and you go on up, and whatever's on that top part of the pole there, okay, the very, very top part. Anything that stands above the flag itself, in its position attached to the top of the flagpole, suspends the contract or the standing of the flag itself. So if there's something up there at the top, then whatever that thing is suspends the contract of the flag, and it is reigning and ruling. That thing that's at the top of the pole, not the flag. Okay, very important to understand that. Okay, the standing of the flag itself, and therefore lets you know what or whose venue that you are in. The Vatican banking, presidential venue, etc. In other words, at that location where your flag flies, the laws of your flag no longer apply at the corporate contract location, as it is as its national standing, to include yours, has been subdued and or disqualified and suspended by whatever is attached to the top of the flagpole. The positions are classified as domestic enemies. Okay, understand that. Those positions are classified as domestic enemies to the government of the people of the United States territories, i.e. California, Nevada, etc., and are to be considered legally and lawfully closed since November 2nd, 1999. Now what he's going to do is to explain some of the things that end up on the top of the flagpole and what they represent. So when you go into a various venue and you look at the flag and it doesn't have the yellow fringe, but on the top of the pole it has one of these, you'll now know what venue you're in, what contract you're under. So we'll start with a spire on the flagpole. Anywhere you see it lets you know that you are in a military court-martial venue and is declaring a state of war, that is martial law, against the people. Did you catch it? Against the people, you and I. Every state governor's office in the United States has a spire on the flagpole, denoting that they are at war with their people and have been since November 2nd, 1999. So next time that you go into your governor's office, or you look at a picture of your governor's office and you look at the flag and you see that spire at the top of the pole, you know that he has declared you his enemy. He's not there to serve you or to help you or to benefit you in any way, form, or fashion. This is a foreigner and has nothing to do with the United States and has been suspended ever since November 2nd, 1999. If you see an eagle with the tips of its wings up, so the wings are pointed up on the flagpole, it means that you are in a presidential venue. So if it's a presidential venue, you're going to see on the top of the flag a wing pointed up. You're going to have the actual eagle with its wings pointed upwards. A phoenix, wings tips pointed to downward, denotes that you are in a Vatican banking venue. Vatican banking venue, the phoenix. Now you see phoenix symbolism everywhere. Phoenix symbolism is pointing to the Vatican, to the Pope, to the one who declares himself to be the Father and the Victor of Christ. The word Pope, guys, means Father. And your scriptures tell you to call no man down here your Father, because you have one and he is in heaven. Over in the book of Matthew, the 23rd chapter and verse 9, we read the word. It says, "And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father which is in heaven." To call himself Pope, to declare himself Pope, literally says, what he is saying is, I declare myself the Father. He also wears this triple crown on his head, which says Vicar of Christ, meaning he is the continuation of Christ on earth. No, Christ is still alive. He is in heaven, sitting at the right hand of the Father. He did not give anybody his vicar. Instead, he gave power to the people who believe upon his name and believe in him and the works that he did with the cross. He gave them power to tread upon the serpent and the scorpions and power over all of the enemy. He did not give us a vicar of Christ. Okay, so banking, a Vatican banking venue. In your country, in your county offices, where you would pay your fines or purchases a copy of your deed of trust, your land, okay, your deed of trust, you will see a phoenix on the top of the flagpole, which tells you that you are paying your money to the Vatican and or its banking system. So next time you go into the county office or even go into your county office and just look, okay? But if you go to do, say for example, go to pay your money for your land tax, well, you're paying the Vatican. The Vatican claims he owns that land, okay? Again, the Vatican is not a good person. I know everyone's been taught that he is, but there is an unbelievable amount of information that is going to come out on the Pope eventually. Unbelievable. The crimes that he has committed, the atrocities that he has done. And he's over here extorting from all the people all over the earth who have completely paid for their lands, don't owe nothing, and yet they still have to pay a tax to the Vatican. It's just unbelievable, the fraud that has been committed upon the American people. So what about a ball? A ball on top of the flagpole denotes that it is recruiting contracts at that location. That's what it means. They're recruiting contracts at that particular location. Now, the original flag of our country never had a yellow fringe around it. A yellow fringe denotes that you are under the international jurisdiction of admiralty and maritime law of the sea. It also denotes that this flag is private, corporate flag. It is a private, corporate flag, as it is flown by the federal corporation in the District of Columbia. It's a corporate flag. It belongs to the corporation. Corporations are operating under the international jurisdiction of the sea and therefore the maxims of ecclesiastical law, aka corporate federal Roman law. Again, the beast, if you go to the book of Daniel and the book of Revelations and you look at how this beast is formed and it becomes all these different things and it goes through all the phases, and then you get to the Roman Empire, which was the final one, and then that Roman Empire that had 7 heads gets a fatal wound, and then it comes back as this triangle, which is still the Roman Empire. Nothing changed. It was resurrected. It came back to life in a hidden background way, in the shadows where nobody could see it or understand it. And this 666 system has been in existence before you were ever born into the earth. So federal Roman law, i.e. despotic man-made laws of the Vatican. There's that Vatican. The Vatican, the Vatican, the Vatican, the Vatican. Number 5, subsection 5, for a fact, the IRS claims that they work for the United States Treasury. The United States Treasury is under the jurisdiction of the United States Post Office. The Post Office is responsible for all 3,850 branches of government, because the Post Office, when established on the October 22nd, 1871, in an act of global warfare, captured the entire world and all vessels in it, in an effort to command and control all commerce of Earth. Again, you cannot buy or sell without the mark, without their money, without their fake fraudulent monopoly money that they control, they manipulate, they want it to prosper, they want it to collapse. They have complete control over the entire thing. There's no way you can buy anything. You can't walk in there with a stick of gold into a corporation like Walmart and buy something. They won't accept gold. You can only buy and sell with their systems. The international jurisdiction of admiralty and maritime law of the sea are the laws of the King of Great Britain. The King of Great Britain. So So when you're dealing with these courts, you're dealing with a foreign court. You're dealing with the court of Great Britain. They are the ones manipulating, controlling these things, as well as the Vatican, who's extorting all your money and stealing and thieving from you, and all this other stuff that's going on. So wherein everyone and everything is recognized as a little boat or a vessel that is floating around in a sea of space, and as vessels, and are therefore and have been captured in the king's global feudal system of commerce, the 666 system that nobody knows about, that all, and I mean all, and I do mean all, because that's what the scriptures tell us, all have come under this thing. All have. Okay, so the king's global feudal system of commerce, i.e. the shipping movement of everyone and everything on the earth, complete and absolute control of all things. And the, quote, timelines, end quote, shipping date movements, working in conjunction with the entire operation, were set up and are controlled by the Vatican's Gregorian calendar. This is why we ended up with the Gregorian calendar rather than Yah's calendar. That is the Father's calendar. You call him Yah because of the book of Psalms, which every translation calls him Yah in the book of Psalms. So the Vatican's Gregorian calendar and the global position of the post office of the Universal Postmaster General up in Bern, Switzerland, where all of the post offices of the kings and or monarchs and dictators of the world are registered, and their wars are conducted through postal wars. They are conducted through the Universal Postmaster General of Bern, Switzerland, right here. These postal wars are all done through the Universal Postmaster General up in Bern, Switzerland. Postal wars, shipping wars, commerce, that's what it is. The control of the shipping and movement of all cargoes and or vessels, i.e. people, money, boats, planes, cars, military. It doesn't matter what you come up with, a building, a boat, anything that you can come up with, guys, it is included in commerce. So even, yes, wars on earth, all in an effort to state the claim that they own, have captured everything and the planet, and that includes you. That includes me. You, the one listening, and me, the one reading this to you. This is the reality, guys. This is the reality of the world you live in. Under maritime law, Title 46, Chapter 1, Section 1 states, the first rule of all contracts is closure. Number one rule, number one law under maritime law, you must have closure. There must be closure for the violation of the contract by the initiate. If there is a hidden meaning within any contract, and that meaning, dictionary term, was not advertised within that contract, and that meaning was used for subversive or criminal activity, then that contract falls under the terminology of fraud. You have to disclose it all. Fraudulent parse syntax grammar / divided by syntax equals part of the world. Okay, now you got to understand that we now have a quantum government, which means we have a government of truth. We're going to get into the details of that as we go down through the rest of this document, the rest of this report. We also have a quantum syntax, and so this makes all of their syntax illegitimate and a fraud because it's out of syntax. Okay, and we have a quantum financial system. But again, to get to that quantum financial system, which is running side by side with these fraudulent banking cartels systems, in order to get to that quantum financial system, first the public at large has to wake up that all of these private banks that are running, these central banks that are running all these nations, are a fraud and are an enemy, that have declared themselves, and that have declared that the people, we the people, are their enemy, and they are out to destroy us and bring us down. And until the population as a whole, or the public at large, wakes up to this, we can't switch over to that quantum financial system. So they've got to gradually wake up. That's why Trump has Powell in position and is beating up on Powell in order in the scripted movie that everybody's watching, that the people will begin to wake up that they have an enemy called the Federal Reserve, and that we need to get rid of it. That way you can bring in the quantum financial system. This is why I can't understand why people think that 2 months ago they were saying in a week we're going to have Zim redemption, and then a month later they're like, well, we're going to have it in 2 days, and then more time goes by, and they just keep on going. Look, until the public wakes up to the Federal Reserve and to the essential banks of all the different nations being a fraud and an enemy of the people, and that need to be dissolved and removed, we can't move over to that quantum financial system, which is operating side by side and tracking everything that the deep state and cabal is doing. Closure. To provide a person or position, office of importance, with factual information that is required. It is the first law under maritime law. So here's the historical caveat. November 2nd, 1999. This was the day that all the federal services being provided and overseen by Great Britain for the 50 territories of the Union of the Republic. Remember, the founding fathers made this contract, this agreement with the King of Great Britain. Okay, so this was the day that all of the federal services being provided and overseen by Great Britain for the 50 territories of the Union of the Republic, the United States of America, which operates under the Constitution for the United States of America, and the District of Columbia, and its Federal Services Contract Corporation, the United States of America, Inc., that's the incorporation of 1871, which operates under the copyrighted corporate copycat Constitution of the United States of America, Inc., legally and lawfully ended and were dissolved. Okay, understand the two things here. Okay, our Constitution, that is the United States of America Republic, the Constitution is for the, this is what it says, the Constitution for the United States of America. But in their corporation that's called the United States of America, Inc., theirs says, their copycat copy of that Constitution says it is the Constitution of the United States of America. Completely different constitution that they were operating under. Now do you see how they did this? They are not there to defend your Constitution and your constitutional rights. That's your responsibility. They were there to defend their Constitution. And you were their enemy, and they were our enemy, but we didn't know because they had us dumbed down and programmed and sound asleep and given us all this stuff. All this nonsense, this narrative, this story, as they were leading us to our destruction, our demise, the annihilation of us. There are two completely separate governments and two completely separate government systems. One is operating out of the District of Columbia in an effort to trick the other one by mirroring. This is why Q keeps bringing up mirrors. Everything is a mirror with them. It is a mirror of the real thing. Okay? In an effort to trick the other one, us, by mirroring it in every single manner, to confuse it and eventually assimilate it in a long-range military objective to conquer it. It's the oldest trick in the book, and it is exactly what John F. Kennedy Sr., that video, that audio that I let you listen to in the last video, the first video of this series, he tells you exactly that. If you pay close attention to every word that departs out of his mouth, every word that he says, John F. Kennedy Sr., in that speech has profound meaning. That's why I put it in. And I didn't start it with where everyone else starts that audio. I started it way back so you can get every word that is important that he speaks, where it exposes this double system and how he needed the help in educating the American public that they have taken control of a narrative and they are programming people and doing all these things, and that you have a vast military, they have vast military resources and conscripted all these different things. You listen to that speech and you understand the enemy that you're dealing with, and they still exist to this day. See, Trump shut down the spiritual side of the chemtrails. Now, we still are dealing with the physical side of chemtrails because the deep state is still there. We have not recorded all of the factual evidences that we need to completely and utterly take them down. So, and we're waiting on the public to get woke up. That's why we're supposed to be out here red pilling people, is so that they wake up so we can speed this process up. We're waiting on the public. We're waiting on the narrative. We're waiting on the scripted movie to catch up. Remember, Q is at the finish line. He's already there. But they had a psychological operation, this military-industrial complex, as John F. Kennedy Sr. called it, the cabal, the deep state, the satanic cult, the children of the wicked one. That's who they are, or the descendants of Cain, but they are the children of the wicked one. That's the bottom line. That's the best terminology to use. They are the children of the wicked one, because that's how Jesus puts it. But they are the children of the wicked one. And they've had this plan, this psychological operation that's been going on for a very, very long time. It is the oldest trick in the book. And guys, we're at an hour, and so I'm going to shut this down, and I'll create yet another video. And I think this one, the next video, will not come out directly after this one. I've already got 14 hours on Sunday, and by the time this one is completely and utterly done today, I'm pretty sure we're going to be pretty much in the evening time, and another 14-15 hours are going to have passed by. So I'm just going to probably go ahead and start working on the third video. Actually, I've already got it in the works. I just got to get it edited. I got to get the stuff added to it. I got to do all the stuff to it, and then I can render it. Then I can get it uploaded out to you guys. So, but it's not going to come out within the next 20 to 30 minutes or anything like that. So be looking forward to it, guys, and we will continue to awaken and to understand what has happened all around us. And just remember, guys, to get in the Word and to stay in the Word and to get the Word in you. That way you know what the Word says. After that, you can work on translations issues and contradictions that you found and that kind of stuff, but at least know what it says. Have it in you. That way he has something to work with in you to give you revelation, to give you understanding, he can say, look, take this verse and this verse, see how they connect? He can give you that revelation. But if you don't have any of the Word in you, he's got nothing to, the Holy Spirit's got nothing to work with inside of you. And it's hard for you to get discernment and those kinds of things. So the Word, guys, is very, very, very important. Look, here's the order of things. First and foremost, above everything, trust your Father in heaven. Second, after the Father, trust the Lord Jesus Christ. After the Lord Jesus Christ, then trust Q and the Q team, and that includes POTUS. As long as you're trusting the Father first and the Son second, then you can trust Q and the plan, guys. Because look, if the plan goes astray, your trust is in the Son and the Father. And he's got you. And he'll show you the error and where they're headed and get you out of it. Like I said, if I start to see him go astray, if that's what I see, then I'm going to be one of the people standing up against them. If that's what I see. So far, their fruit has shown that they are good people. They are trying to take down this cabal. They are arresting people all over the place, as we've seen. We have pedophiles being arrested. We have drug dealers being arrested. We have a wall going up to block the southern border. Now proved, actual footage of it. We've got all of these things going. All the fruit is there. We have Epstein arrested. Again, guys, you are watching a scripted movie, and I hope, and I really, truly, genuinely hope that your eyes have opened up to the fact that it's already done. It was done November 2nd, 1999. You're just watching a show. They inserted Trump in because we hold the office, the Postmaster General. It was vacated November 2nd, 1999, and we seized control of it. Alright, guys, I'm going to get on off here. Remember, other than the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the next two most important things are love and truth. After that, peace and justice. And peace be with every one of you. I love you guys.